Yeah, because I'm not sure if she's gonna be able to make it tonight because of the change in our dates and things. But we can talk about something else. I
Well, we
want to
can
know.
also talk about the homeless camp because we put that on the agenda.
Yeah, I saw that. We can talk about that also. But you can go ahead if you want to get started. We can call the meeting to order. It is 7:05 p.m.
Okay.
And some interesting news. They put me on the cover of the Culver City News this week. And the award that I received was pretty much for the MLK celebration and my hosting and my participation for the years. But the big
Wait
old
a minute.
headline. Pardon me?
Okay, we have another issue going on. I'm going to unshare the screen. I feel I need to. They put me on the cover of the Culver City News this week, and
Oh, she recorded that. Laura?
So Laura, we got a thing, a notice saying that your live stream is working.
Yeah, it's recording and repeating what I said.
Okay, you guys, can everybody just stop talking for a minute so I can identify where the problem is?
Okay. So we're troubleshooting.
Yeah, no, I'm, hang on. I know. Correct. And what's happening. Okay. Now, let's try this again. Tell me if this is working without the background noise.
Well, I hear an echo. I don't know if I'm the only one hearing it.
Well, I'm not the one going to be talking. I just want to make sure the live streaming isn't echoing and where you guys are hearing everything 2 and 3 times. So
okay.
Is it better now?
Okay, we'll try it. It sounds better.
Okay. What I think I might do is, just in case, let's see if it's a choice. I'm going to also record the meeting on Zoom. And so the YouTube doesn't work because I just turned it off. Meaning I left it running, but I turned off the sound on my computer. So if it didn't record, we'll be recording to Zoom. Okay, Tori, why don't we start the meeting over, please?
Well, we officially started at 7:05, then we had some troubleshooting issues. So now we're trying it again with a backup mechanism of recording on live stream as well as our usual mode of recording. I was telling you guys about the article that they have in this paper that I saw this morning, and it says homelessness worker wins community award, and it says longtime liaison of homeless is honored for years of dedicated service. I said, wow, he did almost 2.5 pages, and I'm like, I don't know where he got all this information, but it's good that he put it in the paper because he's asking about volunteering for the community and about touring. You know, same things that we've been talking about for the past, 4 or 5 years. So we'll go ahead and do your 2 minutes for everyone else that's on the call.
Right. And, do you want me to share the screen again with the agenda just to refresh everybody what we're doing tonight?
Yes, you can do that. In the meantime, welcome everyone. Hi, Hugh, Donna. Who else is on?
David Murray and myself.
David, hello.
Hi.
I'm glad you joined us this evening. This is an unusual schedule this month, of course, same as last month, though. So I may have to, looks like I will reschedule Yvonne for January meeting because she's talked about a lot of the resources that they actually have at West Angeles and what they do, not just for the homeless, but for the community at large. So it'll be interesting to see what all they have to offer.
Okay. So let me do this kind of official bureaucratic thing and remind everyone as I draw your attention to the determination to continue to hold meetings virtually comes from the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners. And it is likely we will start meeting in person again in March, just FYI, but between now and then we'll still be on Zoom. And the rest of the agenda is Tori's already done the welcome, general public comments. We know that item 4, we're not going to hear from Yvonne Davis tonight. Item 5 is a pre-session in community engagement for the homeless count 2023, which is scheduled for January. And then the usual round robin discussion, old business, follow-up, and adjournment. And Tori, what we had put, just again, a reminder, put on the agenda for future meetings, the normally scheduled next meeting would be Thursday, January 26th. However, that's our homeless count.
Right.
So,
right.
I wrote a special meeting on a substitute date may be announced for January, or otherwise the next meeting is Thursday, February 23rd. So that'll be, we don't, I mean, you can discuss it tonight, but we don't need to know for sure what you're doing at this moment in time.
Yeah, well, under the circumstances, I think we should meet the week before the count so I can get a feel for who all is going to actually come out and help. I talked to Holly Mitchell this morning and let her know that the former county supervisor used to bring us volunteers as well to make up some of that 200. So I have a feeling that we're not going to get that type of number this time, for 2023 to do the count. However, we had a limited amount of people that did it this year, and we still got it done. There was only one team, and that was a very new team when they put the city officials out to come help us this year. So they didn't get a chance to finish their total track, but they did go back the next day or two to finish it before all the paperwork had to be turned in. So again, we met our 100% quota as far as doing the actual counts of the boundaries and maps that they provided for us. So that's where we are right now with the count. Someone called me last week and asked me, was Holman going to participate? And so right now, our building, one of the rooms is being renovated and the education building is being renovated. So it's kind of throwing me a little off still. So we may have to go under the tents. We have tents on a patio and then get a couple of heat lamps or so to put out there and snacks and everything. And that will expedite us going out and coming in a little earlier than usual, depending on how many tracks they actually give us. So I think it's doable. Whatever it is they give us, we'll be able to have enough people to get it done. And that's where we are with that. And it is January 26th, 2022. And I would like to go ahead and put what date? The previous Thursday would be what? The 4th. I can't even think right now. But anyway, probably the 16th? So we'd have to have a meeting. Let's see, 26th. No, the 19th.
The 19th.
So, yeah, the 19th. So we'll probably have to have our meeting on the 19th, Laura, for next month. So we can just talk about the homeless count, see where I am with materials and everything. Because as it stands right now, I still have to talk to Hoppix and Lassa. You know, they have a new CEO again, and he became permanent, I guess, yesterday, day before yesterday. It was definitely this week that Mr. Simon is the CEO of Lassa now. So I've been participating on some of the commissioner meetings and seeing what's what and what they plan to do. But I'm going to let you guys go ahead with your 2 minutes. And I had a question for everyone once you finish the 2 minutes of public announcements that have nothing to do with the agenda. Anyone? David, Donna?
Hi, I'd like to know about the Cecil Hotel and why it's not being used.
Which one?
Cecil Hotel. There was a big
the Cecil?
Yes.
I thought the Cecil was being used. I know the Cecil and the Mayfair and the Grand. They had
There was an article in the Times recently that said I think there's 600 rooms and they're not even 10% full, and it is available. And I'm just wondering if someone knows why.
We'll talk about that and then when there's, yeah. Well, I guess because I'm not supposed to be commenting on your 2 minute public announcement, but we'll talk about it after everyone has a chance to do your public announcement. Concerns, questions, David?
No, I'm all good, thanks.
You good? Hugh?
Yeah, Tori, the VA has introduced a new contact for veterans who are not able to find housing. And the plan, according to this, is if you call this telephone number, you will get a call back within 3 hours. A social worker will help you find a place to stay that day.
Now that's a miracle.
I'll put the telephone number in the chat, and anybody that you happen to know that they are a vet, they can call that number, and supposedly within 3 hours they'll be in touch with a social worker and they'll be finding them a place to stay.
Okay, I have a group that can probably follow up on that, and we'll try to kind of monitor that. Is this something new under Karen's emergency plan?
I'm sorry, didn't understand.
Is this something new that just came out this week?
Yeah, this is brand new. I got this email on the 19th.
Okay, can you give me that telephone number since I can't see it?
Yeah, it's 310 268 3350.
Okay, 310-368-3350.
310268.
Okay, that's what I wrote. Okay, 3350. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna test that out, and everybody that's on this phone needs to test this out.
Yeah. Tori, one of our guests, Lionel, has his hand up.
Lionel?
Yes, good evening, board members. My name is Lionel Morris from CD6. I'm also a board member. So I'm here in my own capacity. Is this a general public non-agenda item period, or did I miss it?
No, this is a public announcement time.
Oh, so I can make my public comment now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. I just want to say that I'm sure many of you are aware that Mayor Karen Bass, with the help from the LA County about the homelessness, safer in home, something like that. My understanding is that there's some issues because I guess there's a lack of coordination with different agencies or nonprofits. And what happens is when they go out, do outreach in specific neighborhoods, specific areas, sometimes it can become chaotic because sometimes the unhoused individual may have been on the list for months or years, and obviously they're on track to get some kind of housing, right? It's a process, which is a long process. And then what happens is, unfortunately, from what I'm hearing from sources on the internet and on the ground, is that many times unhoused people, they move place to place. Sometimes they're forced to move from city sanitation department, Caltrans, or LAPD. They show up, they tell them you have to move here. And what happens is it causes LASA and other partner agencies to lose tracks, and they get new unhoused unhoused neighbors moving in who are not on the list, and they're denied housing because they're not on the list, and the person they're looking for is somewhere else. This is something that we should, as a neighborhood council, all of us 99 neighborhoods should raise awareness, should raise a concern about that to Mayor Karen Bass and her deputy mayors. When I think his name is Ramirez, he's in charge of he was hired by Eric Garcetti to take the lead on homelessness, and I don't think he's doing a good job from what I've heard. And we had to make sure that these agencies are working together with the council districts individually, and to make sure that they keep track of these unhoused folks, so they will not lose track, and sign up for the ones who are interested in getting housing. That concludes my public comment, and I thank you. Happy holidays, Happy New Year, and I look forward to working with you next year. God bless.
Lionel, are you staying on the line for a minute?
I guess if you want me to, okay.
Yeah, because that program is called Inside Safe.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's the one I'm referring to. Thank
you. Okay, and but you can continue to listen because I have questions after the public comment. Anyone else? Okay, so public comment will be closed at this time. And I have a question for everyone. I was going to ask you, what do you think it means now that you call emergency on the homelessness? What is an executive order? She did an executive order for emergency housing for the homeless. Yet, what Lionel just said, one of the people even told them that he doubts if he stays inside. So I think that there should be a preliminary question to everyone that says, would you like housing or would you not? Because if you don't, that's a waste. It's like exercising futility. It's a waste of everyone's time. I mean, it's okay to go get in there and clean up and take a shower, what have you. But if they don't plan on staying, it defeats the purpose of the rotation to get them into permanent housing. And it blows that opportunity to see and monitor the behaviorisms so they can do that referral that I was speaking of before for the landlords to have some kind of confidence or faith in the system that will work for them as well. So, Lionel, you want to get us an appointment to sit down with them? We sure can, because you're right. All the different agencies are operating differently, and there's no system to this entire thing. And the outreach workers, in my opinion, need to be retrained to be more effective in a part of the system, not just haphazardly going out, checking on people that are not stationary. And I noticed that in our own area right around here, it's like I go see them again the next day, and it's a totally different person, or they're not there at all.
Tori, that's the definition of the whole thing. That's not a space to live. It's not an address. They receive it. So that's the definition. You're not going to have permanency, and you shouldn't, because that's not housing.
Right. I agree. I agree. Well, some people do find a safe haven in a quiet, safe place, but then there's those who just roam around.
Well, you're
So
dealing with people with,
I
drug
know.
and alcohol issues, and it's not safe to be in most places because fires are being set every day. There's violence. So I don't imagine anyone would want to stay in, in the situation as it is. That's the whole
Mhm.
idea. The mayor is saying that the street isn't a safe spot. It needs to be,
Right.
you know,
But
what
they
you just
just can't.
called it. The program is getting them off and in.
Right, right, right. But you just can't
And like you,
go.
and what you just, my question to you is, you go and ask someone, do you want housing?
Mhm.
The choice is either that everyone needs to have housing, but you
Mm,
cannot force someone to stay in. You just can't
exactly.
allow them to stay in an unsafe situation.
Right,
So what's the
right.
option? What is the option?
Well, now this is just me. I was thinking she's getting all this city property that's been unused for a while, or I think that we should, if they don't want to be inside, we can create this like um, the ADUs, or we can with the ceilings. I was looking at one today where everything's clear, it's like they still out in nature outside, but they really have a roof over their head. So, but that would be after you've housed everybody who wants to be housed. But see, I don't know how she's staying within the boundaries of the city because she's quoting city numbers. And so you have the county who right now is probably about 70,000 homeless. They did extend the moratorium for those to keep the ones prevent more homeless from coming from inside, but it's just a cyclical cycle unless you go sit down and have a plan where everybody's on the same page and systematically working this. Otherwise, it's just gonna be like what do you call that, hamster wheel. Looking at some numbers over the last period of time. We did not do the count in 2021, and so some of the numbers was like 70,000, so 69,000, and and so that was a 4.1 increase from the 2020 count. So each time we increase the numbers, I don't think there's been a time that we've done the count where we've decreased the numbers. So until we get a system going, it's just not going to work. They have people dying. They said it's like 5 people a day that's dying on the street, if not from the weather conditions or the, creating colds and disease from the weather, or it's either a fentanyl overdose or some other type of heroin overdose. And so it's like, at what point, we got to categorize them. We have to. And they can't say there's no mental health facilities, because there are. I mean, so I know I used to take my students to a couple in the valley. One was a locked facility and one wasn't. But they have a few out there, and they have Augustus Hawkins here, and they have Kaiser even has a mental health hospital, because I used to help them with their conversion of their codes into I can't even think right now. Reimbursable for sake of lack of a better word, for a layman's term, to make it reimbursable, their diagnosis. So what I just think that they need to retrain the outreach workers and ask them, are they ready to be housed? So what do you think about that? What do you think her
what's the
emergency
point
plan
of-
means?
Tori, what is the point of having an emergency declaration to get people off the street if you're going to go and ask them would they like to get off the street?
Well, because it'll be easier if there's somebody who is ready, willing, and ready to help the situation and turn their life around and get back in order or whatever they need to do. If you ask them and they're willing, then it's a lot easier.
Well, the whole idea of care court is dealing with people who have special needs and concerns. They're not going to, because they don't make good decisions for themselves. Some people,
Right.
I'm not saying everybody is that, but there are many who we can document very easily.
Yeah.
And that's not an option. Living on the street is not an option. It's unsafe. It's dangerous. Right. And that's the whole idea of an emergency declaration. What for otherwise?
Well, I think that if you force them inside, it's going to be damages and things that you have to deal with for sure in these hotels. And you got to be able to, if they don't want to be there, they're not going to be there. Let's put it like that.
You're right.
So I think it's easier to just get the ones, and which is the majority, that want to move in, who really want to do that and have a nice bed to sleep in and be able to take a hot shower and watch television. You know, I think the majority is going to be those people. I just wish that each council district is assigned to clear up their own and count. Like Culver City knows that they have 328 homelessness, right? They know it's 328. That's the number they've come up with. California, Los Angeles, we got to figure out how to even count ours by district. There's got to be a way to do it. Even if they use us, the neighborhood councils, all 96 of them, it's doable, you know? And so if we could come up with the numbers, the real numbers within each district, and even Skid Row now has been counted as a separate district. It's so many people down there. It is unbelievable. And so, they're walking in the middle of the street, don't obey no signals, nothing. You have to really be careful driving down there. So, if each district could take responsibility for how many they actually have within their district, then we could probably get somewhere, because each district has hotels. And a lot of these hotels, I have said that years ago, before Gavin Newsom even came up with hotels, because they're not being utilized like they could be, and they weren't making, the money that they should have been. So, because we're not, a lot of those small hotels, when tourists come, they don't use those.
Yeah. Tori, Lionel has his hand, I believe.
Go ahead. Who?
Lionel's hand is up.
Yes, my understanding, because I study public sector management and government, is that when a public official, either a mayor, governor, or the president of the United States, makes a declaration of emergency, my understanding is I could be wrong, but my understanding is that it opens up for more resources from other agencies, state, county level, depending the level, or if it's city, state, county, or national. It opens up for more resources, more money, more help, more support. So that's
Right.
what Mayor Karen Bass intended to do, is to open up for more support from county and other state officials. They include, so I think, more money, more human support, like meaning like more like people doing, and maybe extra workers, temporary workers to help with the purposes of outreach, coordination, intake forms, doing that stuff, like doing case management positions. And so, and former Mayor Eric Garcetti was criticized for not declaring an emergency, because he was criticized for not, him and the former, I guess,
Right.
city council, for not accepting the Federal Emergency Management Assistance Agency,
Yeah.
FEMA money, and that they
Right.
were heavily criticized for that, even though they were offered, and all these things. And I think Ms. Karen Bass does not want to repeat those same mistakes, and she is trying to she wants to work with other government agencies, different departments from and I think that's what her intention is. I don't know the specifics, but that's my general understanding. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I have the Declaration of Local Emergency right here in my hand. It's drafted Tuesday, December 13th. The Declaration of Local Emergency Update is the City Council approved a resolution relative to the Declaration of Local Emergency due to the novel coronavirus that was set an end date for, well, what is it saying? For February 1st, 2023. Well, this is talking about the housing period, but this is a part of the local emergency, but it's the actual declaration. Beginning then, tenants must pay their full rent in order to avoid eviction for non-payment of rent. State law mandates that tenants who provided their landlord with a COVID-19 related declaration of financial distress form by the 15-day deadline for rent owed from March 1st, 2020 through August 31st, 2020 cannot be evicted for non-payment of rent from that period. The tenants who are not covered by the declaration of financial distress process described above continue to have protections for unpaid COVID-19 rental debt and must pay their debt as follows in order to avoid eviction. So this is another piece, but it says rent owed from March 1st, 2020 to September 30th, 2021. Tenants must pay by August 1st, 2023. So rent owed from October 1st, 2021 to January 31st, 2023. Tenants must pay by February 1st, 2024.
It looks like Tori just fell off this meeting. What do you guys want to do? Yeah. Anyone?
Sorry to chime in. She might have been accidentally, her signal may have been low,
Correct.
or she may
No,
have.
I understand. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm just the Zoom host. Who do you want to kind of take over some management? I mean, in other words, we've lost Tori. We've lost the chair. So and here she comes back. And bring her back in.
Okay, thank you.
Area. Okay.
Okay. So is there any questions about that portion of the declaration?
Well, Tori, I'm just going to make a comment. As a landlord, or as a landlord helper, I mean, whatever, we have tenants. None of the tenants ever filled those declarations out. They did have problems. Some of them got COVID relief, but we never received from any tenant who owes money to the state any of those declarations. So I feel like the focus on that is legal and technical, but I don't know how useful it's going to be for the majority of people around town if they didn't fill out the paperwork in a timely manner.
Okay. Well, now
That's
that
just
it's
an
been
FYI.
yeah, but now that it's been extended, I think you can
Yes, but they
revisit
still
it.
would have had to fill out the declarations. So anyway,
Are you saying the tenants are not filling them out?
correct.
Okay. So if the landlord has their portion done,
No, I mean,
the
in other words, the defense against eviction requires that a tenant fill out, there's paperwork, and they probably need to do it monthly saying, I'm affected by COVID, I can't pay the rent. I mean, it's kind of simple paperwork. The landlords we all, at least those of us who followed the rules, presented that paperwork to all of our tenants, 2 years ago. I mean, a long time ago, whenever it was created, it was a mandatory requirement for landlords to give their tenants the notice that included all of these instructions that you're reading out loud. And I think most landlords did do that. I don't know that for sure. I don't look at other landlords' business, but it would seem to me that there'd be no reason for a landlord not to do it. And but we haven't. I'm just saying, this is anecdotal, statistical. We never received such a declaration from any of our renters, even those who owed money. Most of them have either gotten COVID relief or a job and paid it back. So I mean, we're in good shape, and so are they. But I'm just saying, never, ever, ever did we get any one of those tenants file that paperwork with us. And so I don't think our situation's unique. I feel like a lot of tenants were so overwhelmed around town that never happened. So that now the reliance on that within any emergency orders probably is legal and technical, because it's probably what the state requires, but it's going to be a problem for, I don't think it's going to stop displacement.
Well,
my opinion, but again, it's anecdotal. Not statistical.
Well, I never received one either, Tori. Not one.
Okay, but you have situations where they need to, right?
Well, it's too late to do it.
Most of them, if they were late, they caught themselves up. They took care of it.
Okay.
Right, or they applied for relief and got the relief. But but what this emergency thing is basically saying, a person needed to prevent eviction. You had to file, if you're a tenant, you have to file those declarations with your landlord, right? And presumably somehow copy still that it's provable. And you have to pay a certain amount.
No, Laura, you don't file it with the landlord, you file it with the agency.
It would have already had to have happened.
If you need me to help you, I will, because if there's a tenant, if anybody, if there's a tenant, they've extended the moratorium to August of 2023 and to 2024 for that second batch of people. So they have time now to do it still for those periods of time that they were missing their rent. They extended it. So if there's anybody that needs that done, then let them know, whoever their agency is that they're working with, if it's Hackler or Loss, whoever it is that's extended that program, then they still have time to do it. It's just both parties have to do it with that agency.
Okay.
They don't do it with each other.
All right.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. So they know, and let them reach out to their city council person, and they can get the forms what they need to get started, or the telephone number, and just get it started. Just provide them with what they ask for, and then they'll ask the landlord their portion, and that's it. And then they reimburse. But see, the first go around, they gave the tenants the money. This go around, the landlords were included in the process, and they get the money directly.
All right.
So that's good. They did enhance the process.
Okay,
So yeah, it's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts. Okay, so now also, NASA has created some access centers. So there's access centers to help. Let me see. Identify your service plan area. We all know we're in SPA 6, right? When they speak of service planning areas, ours is 6. So the map. Yeah, so they're trying to do a lot of different things, but I just wish it was all consistent, and maybe it will get to that point where it is. So I'm just wanting to know how they anticipate the city being separate from the county, because somebody was telling me today. Where was I today? Oh, we went to go see Holly Mitchell. They had cookies and cocoa or something at the Senior Citizen Center in Culver City. And somebody was telling me that they're going to start counting the unincorporated areas, which that must fall under the county. The unincorporated, well, it really doesn't fall into either one, but this is going to be interesting how they create the different lines, especially since they did this redistricting and everything now. So, but I'm sure that when we get our maps, we'll see, and they're just supposed to be city maps and not the county areas. So I don't know, but hopefully she can do what she was saying by cutting the 40,000 or so that's in the city in half. And if they do the right process, it can be done. And they have cooperation and contracts with these hotels. But back to Donna's question now, that we want to talk about the Mayfair, the Grand, and the Cecil. Well, they keep saying the Cecil is haunted, believe it or not. I don't know, but there's lots and lots of stories they keep telling me. And so I don't know what they're going to do with the Cecil, but I know the Grand is being converted into permanent housing as opposed to interim housing, because a couple of people have applied for the application to live there permanently. The Mayfair just had a big party on the 17th, and I'm like, I don't know how that happened, but they had a big party, and someone had mentioned it to me before when we was talking about all these different hotels, and sure enough, I had passed by there, and there was a whole lot of people standing out front, so having a party. So they are supposed to convert back to a regular hotel, but now with this declaration of emergency, they may have second thoughts and go back to interim housing. Problem with that is, I know approximately 5 of the girls that I'm in contact with said that their possessions were stolen by the staff. Now, neither one of these 5 girls knew each other at all, and they both came and reported that to me, and I told them to report it to the police, right? And so, I don't know. It's very interesting dynamic, but they definitely said that when they were moving them out that day, when they was making everybody move out, all of their items got separated from them, and some of them went out a back door. So that's a problem. If staff's gonna be stealing from them, and they barely, trying to gather all their things together again. And some of that stuff is pretty expensive stuff because some of the people are fleeing from domestic violence cases. They had their houses and properties and everything. It's just that sometimes they got put out instead of the husband being put out, they got put out. And so there's a couple of them going through court processes right now on a continual basis just because a couple had children involved and a couple of them did not. So that's a big thing too. The domestic violence is just as rampant as the mental illness and the drugs and alcohol. Mm-hmm. So it's an interesting thing what's actually happening. But the Cecil, I don't know what they're gonna do with the Cecil yet. But I would think that she would try to use it as well because they were definitely using it for interim housing. What else did you hear about it, Donna? Uh-oh, am I still on? Donna?
She's still here.
She's still there?
Well, she's still shows on the meeting.
Yeah, well, I don't know what's going to happen with the Cecil. That's something we can just track and follow and see what happens. But I would think that it would be part of the emergency since they have so many rooms.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I have nothing for you, Tori. I don't know if anyone else does.
Yeah. Well, it is 7:52, and we'll adjourn at 8:00. Let's see.
Well, I guess I do have one question. It's not about those hotels. It's back to the homeless count. Is it going to be back at Holman or is it going to be at Exposition Park again? If you know.
Oh no, we're gonna do it at Holman on the patio, and I have to still talk to Lassa to make sure we're in the rotation to be one of those that is being selected by the general public.
Yeah, well, right now you're not, because I checked the other day.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Which is why I'm asking the question.
Yeah. I left a message for Erica today at Hoppick, so I may go by there tomorrow and to make sure, and then I'll let you know at the way before. Well, I'll let you know before this year is out. So because there's no way we're gonna do that Exposition Park, and it was so dark, couldn't. It was just interesting.
Well, this is just essentially a UNNC marketing and outreach question. We need to get that information earlier rather than later so we can get a good push on it, especially if it is going to be.
Especially if it's going to be what?
At Holman.
Yeah.
Right here in UNNC.
Well, yeah, I really would appreciate it being right there on the patio. At least I can have some light and see what we're doing with the paperwork.
Right.
And some tables and chairs and things that we need to be comfortable. And then start recruiting. That's what we have to do. But yeah, I will probably talk to her. Well, everybody's everywhere. I mean, some of these offices are closed, but I did leave a message earlier today, and they did tell them in the meeting that we had planned to. So I have to email Brittany again too. So I think I did that. I did. So I had to look for her response because no one at LASA answers telephones. It's like everyone's remote or something still.
Do you believe anything that LASA says or does?
But no, not really.
It's a big
No.
waste of our money, time, and effort. They're renting offices and all they do is sit in those offices over there at the old district office. The parking lot is packed. There's nothing. If they're there, they're not seeing anybody. But the point is that they've rented them and they're basically that's all they're doing.
That's
Spending
not good.
money. So definitely spending H and HH and whatever else they got the money for, they've done nothing with it but take advantage. So needless to say.
Well, that's where the oversight comes in. See,
Exactly.
They don't answer the phone. They do not answer the phones, and so that's something that needs to be brought to Karen's attention as well. You know, because these people that they've entrusted with these funds, who sends back $150 million when you still have 80,000 people on the street?
The people that are taking trips to the Bahamas with the money that they do have.
Well, they need to be in jail somewhere. But, I mean, that's considered embezzlement and fraud as far as I know.
Of the 8 letters I've written to them, I've gotten not a single response.
Pardon me?
Of the 8 letters that I've written to LASA, I've gotten not a single response.
Oh, you have copies of that?
Yeah, I can go and dig them up again.
Yeah, dig them up and let's go over there. We got to do something different, you know, because they have a new
you've had them at the
CEO.
meeting. Tori, you've had the rep at the meeting. They didn't know what they were talking about or doing. They put these people, they hire them, and the people don't even know what they're talking about.
Right. Well, they're like, it seems as if they work in silos versus in tandem. I mean, it's just this person does their job and this person does their job and there's no interconnectivity. It's like, wow. Okay.
If you believe they're doing a job, then I can sell you some beachfront property.
well, I'm sure somebody's doing their job, you know.
No, nobody's doing their job. No.
Well, we're gonna have to hold them accountable some kind of way. And that's a part of this whole plan. If they are the ones who supposed to disperse and make sure things are done to the other agencies, there's got to be some other way of communicating. And like I said, as of yesterday, today's Tuesday, Wednesday. So as of day before yesterday, Mr. Simon did become the CEO officially, and so he's no longer interim. So now we at least have a person that we can perhaps communicate with, and maybe I can get him to come on the call in February or something. Yeah, after the count and see what happens. They used to send the people to the count, but ask me where they went. Did they ever? They wasn't ones who participated and rode in a car and came back. A couple of them did, but you didn't see them hang around and help tally and do things like that. Only when Keenan was working there. Yeah, Brittany tried it. They gave her too much of an overload of work. She tried to handle Hopix, our site and another site. But Keena was more hands-on as far as coming to the meetings and participating, making sure I had what we needed to have for snacks and everything for the count. But let's try to hold them accountable. David, you pull up those letters and get in touch with me, and let's just go over there and take them. Was there one topic in particular that you needed addressed?
This was it was some time ago, but I never
So
got
it's resolved?
No, I never got any response from any of them.
Ugh. And you addressed it to?
I'll look up all the different names. I can get them for you.
Okay, that'd be great. Yeah, let's see if you can get resolved with that. And then I had planned on going over there soon because they changed offices, but somebody told me nobody answers the door unless you have an appointment. But you cannot even get anyone on the phone anymore. They used to have a receptionist who at least could direct your call somewhere, but now they don't have that.
Wow.
So I don't understand how you allow that many millions of dollars to be handled by somebody that can't answer the phone.
Go through Holly Mitchell, Tori.
Holly or Karen now? Probably, since Karen's dealing with this homelessness issue, she needs to know how all of this has been not working. There's no way you should be on a waiting list for 12 years. Period. And like I said, I don't believe we have a housing shortage. We have a landlord shortage that's willing to do it because they've done it before and to their detriment. But if we come up with that systemized plan on a statewide level of the referral, when you work directly with them, then I think that would be a lot better. I mean, a whole lot better.
We have an alcohol and drug addiction problem, mental health. That's on the top of most lists. Not all, but most. And until they're handled, no one's going to rent to people with major. I did it, and I'll never do it again.
Yeah, I never say never. That's what I'm saying. Don't do it unless you have a letter. No, listen. Okay. If we could get the referral implementation plan together and get them to initiate it or implement it or make it law or do what you have to do, then as long as you have a direct referral from somebody that's been working with the individual for more than 6 months, and you know their behaviorism. I mean, because we have a girl the other day that tried to stab a girl who was one of the workers, but, they irritated her. And so she got put out. So I would not ever send you anybody like that. You know what I mean? But at least we know that about the person. We know the behaviors. We know pretty much who break a mirror or break your ceramic tile or anything like that. We know who that would be. So those wouldn't be the ones that we refer to you. Those would be the ones that have to have some type of intervention before they go live by themselves. Some of them just cannot live by themselves. We got a lady that just got her voucher the other day. She got her place and everything. But shoot, every time she was ready to pack, she had an anxiety issue. So then what happens? She had anxiety to the point where she self-sabotaged herself. Now she needs somebody to live with her. She needs a caregiver. At this point, she got her place. She's just sitting there right now. But she's definitely going to need somebody to go with her. She cannot go live by herself. So see, those things, that we know the intricate details. We know what's what and what the situation is and what family member, for the most part, caused their trauma or who caused their trauma. And so if you have a referral letter from direct contact like that, I think that's something that's very valuable, and it should be implemented into the whole system. But that's going to take some
Corey,
sitting
that's very
down.
good. That's what you're saying is right. And it'll never work till that happens. And until
Exactly. Exactly.
Only oversight situations will be workable for most people.
Right. Right.
Only.
And about 3/4 of the ladies are good. You know, it's just those that quarter of them that is like, okay, they definitely need to be in a mental health program before they get their place and their voucher. And I don't believe these vouchers should expire until something like that is implemented, because they having such a hard time finding a place for them. So I was looking at the declaration, and she said interim and permanent, and making some of the hotels permanent. So we have to see what is her plan for that. Because if they don't do it the way I just explained it, they're gonna be paying a lot of money towards damages and towards fixing this and fixing that, and it'll be a forever cycle that person will be in their mental health issues and their alcohol abuse. It'll just be cyclical. And it's like, that's not fair to them. It's not fair to the landlord. It's not fair to the neighborhood, you know. So that's something that we seriously, as a unit, this group right here could take to the table of Mayor Karen Bass and get it implemented. So that's something to think about. That's something doable. Okay. Well,
Thank you, Tori.
I have any announcements or anything before we close? This is off the topic, but tomorrow morning at Veterans Memorial, we're having a musical at 12:30 p.m. And Eloise Laws is probably gonna sing a Christmas song, and then Zed Smythe, he does a tribute to Frank Sinatra. He may do a couple of Christmas songs, and then otherwise they're gonna showcase talent of a play that's gonna be at the Wilshire E-Bell in February. And so it's really, really, really good talent, really good. And it's only $10. And there's a toy giveaway for those 12 and under. And so the $10 goes to help support free, paid internships for those interested in drama and acting. So it was really good. It's at the Veterans Memorial right at Culver and Overland in Culver City at 12:30. So I hope some of you or one or two of you be able to go. Beverly already got her ticket. Well, I have her ticket. She'll come get it. And I didn't get a chance to remind her about tonight, but it'll be really, really good. Good breaks to take, because this is only going to be about an hour and a half show. Okay, with that in place, it's 8:08. We're going to officially call it adjournment. And I appreciate each of you that are on the call. And so next month, it will be the 19th. But I'll talk to everyone and communicate with you before then, so we can do some action items. So
Right,
David,
and
do you have
Troy,
my
be
number?
sure as soon as you can get confirmation from the site.
Oh yeah, I will. Yeah, hopefully that'll be the next
Let
few
Greg and
days.
me know, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over there because they on holiday mode.
All
They're
right.
not answering for me either. Okay, so David, you have my number.
Yes, I do. Thanks.
Okay, please reach out.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone, have a wonderful holiday. If I don't see you tomorrow.
Same to
You too.
everybody also.
Okay. Good night.
Okay.
What did you say, Hugh?
Ending the meeting as the host.
Okay, thank